whenever Trump wanted to get a loan or make a deal, he would illegally inflate the value of his real estate. For instance, suggesting that his 11,000 square foot penthouse was a 30,000 square foot penthouse, I guess somehow including the sky in the calculation. We all do it. I mean, in my license, I'm not listed as 5'7", you know. I'm listed as 30,000 square feet. And thank you. And the Attorney General of New York knew that Trump's property values were inflated because when it came time to pay taxes, Trump undervalued the very same properties. It was all part of a very sophisticated real estate practice known as lying.
Jon Stewart is reaching Bill Maher status where he just keeps going on these meltdowns. He keeps going on these tirades against people like Donald Trump and Donald Trump supporters. And now he's getting shut down by people like Tim Pool, which we'll go over here in 1 second. But Jon Stewart got absolutely destroyed by Tim Pool and by so many others in the conservative movement, and also just people with common sense out there. There's people like Jon Stewart and Bill Maher who just lead with their feelings all the time, and they really don't like Donald Trump, so much so that their brain is broken, and every single thing that Donald Trump does is the most evilest thing of all time. So now Jon Stewart is, like I said, reaching Bill Maher status in rants like this. It's just a super embarrassing meltdown of a rant, and then he got absolutely destroyed by Tim Pool afterwards, which we'll check out right after. But here we have this tweet from Middle MAGA. It says, Jon Stewart has become the most insufferable talking head out there. And it's a 7-minute clip here of Jon Stewart having an absolute meltdown over Donald Trump. Let's check this out, and then we'll get into Tim Pool and the other reactions right after.
You know, let's take a step back. What did Trump actually do to earn this penalty? Well, it turns out that for a decade, whenever Trump wanted to get a loan or make a deal, he would illegally inflate the value of his real estate. For instance, suggesting that his 11,000 square foot penthouse was a 30,000 square foot penthouse, I guess somehow including the sky in the calculation. We all do it. I mean, in my license, I'm not listed as 5'7", you know. I'm listed as 30,000 square feet. And thank you. And the Attorney General of New York knew that Trump's property values were inflated because when it came time to pay taxes, Trump undervalued the very same properties. It was all part of a very sophisticated real estate practice known as lying. So the judge calculated that the value that he gained from the lying with interest was around $454 million. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, that sounds pretty straightforward. Whatever gains you got from lying, you have to pay back. Well, that's because you're a f***ing idiot. No, Judge. If you knew anything about business, if you had an MBA, you'd know you're an idiot.
We're talking about a victimless crime. They find an ordinance or a law that has never been used ever before in anyone else.
He's committed bank fraud where there's no victim. It makes no sense.
No victims. There was no victim. The ruling is blatantly unfair.
That didn't go over very well with the investment community because we're all asking each other, who's next?
Who's next? The persecuted minority of the investment community.
Let me know what you guys think about this, because personally, you know, I have my own feelings about taxation, and I think the amount that especially entrepreneurs are taxed is absolutely ridiculous. Like, I have a friend who made, you know, around 70K last year, for example. You know, obviously I'm just going to use a friend for example. This isn't me, like it truly isn't me, but I had a friend last year who made 70K as an entrepreneur, you know, self-employed, and he was an LLC instead of an S Corp. I know this is kind of nerd talk, but he was an LLC instead of an S Corp, and he got a tax guy who wasn't super well versed in entrepreneurship. And I wish I could have told him to get someone else, but he got a tax guy who wasn't super well versed in entrepreneurship. You know how these tax guys go? They'll just say, oh yeah, just file under like self-employment and not really try to help you out and you know, do what Donald Trump's guys do. And he ended up paying 20K in taxes, and he made 70K in the year because he's an entrepreneur, and he just filed as self-employed instead of doing the little tricks and stuff that Donald Trump and the smart guys do. And personally, I just think that's theft. Personally, you know, I think taxation nowadays is theft because we don't have much of a say in where that money goes. Like, if we were getting taxed that much and it was going to things that were actually going to help America out, that would be a different story. But I have no problem with Donald Trump or people on the left going and finding these loopholes in taxes and things like that, because when we're taxed, the money goes to places that aren't even America nowadays. So yeah, go get all the money you can and take it from the U.S. government, in my opinion. So I don't have no issue with the tax stuff. You know, let me know in the comments how you feel about it.
First they came for the arbitrageurs, and I said nothing. For I was not an arbitrager. And then they came for the quants, which I could be. I don't know what a quant is. But I am surprised to hear this from Kevin O'Leary, the guy who's such an asshole. Wait, that even the other people on Shark Tank thinks he's an asshole. Now, he's very chill. I'm surprised to hear that he's so chill about overvaluing something that he thinks is victimless, because when someone tries to do that to him...
Which one of you do I absolutely tear to pieces now on a $28 million valuation?
You think this is worth $10 million?
Absolutely.
Okay, now I'm going to rip your pieces. Are you out of your mind?
Your valuation's insane.
Your valuation's crazy. I think that's a crazy valuation.
I think your valuation is stinky poo-poo.
Oh, no, you didn't. Canadians are so vulgar. How is he not this mad about overvaluations in the real world? Because they are not victimless crimes. First, the banks got paid back at lower interest rates, although to be honest, who gives a shit? But second, money isn't infinite. A loan that goes to the liar doesn't go to someone who's giving a more honest evaluation. So the system becomes incentivized for corruption. And this is part of a different Trump fraud case, but avoiding taxes hurts all of us. Donald Trump shenanigans cost the city of New York. And to be
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. The United States government, and I don't take this as me being stupid because I do understand how it works, but they literally print unlimited money. They have the power to print money and they use it often to the point where our dollars are barely worth anything at this point. And the place where Donald Trump is taking money from is the state governments and the federal government that has, once again, the ability to print unlimited money. And when we do give them money the way that we're supposed to, you know, and not saying that Donald Trump didn't give it their money the way that they're supposed to. He probably just found some loopholes and has some really good lawyers and really good tax guys that found him some really good loopholes. And he makes a lot of money. He's going to get taxed a lot if he doesn't go out, like, find these loopholes. And the money that he gets taxed are going to go to funding absolute nonsense that Donald Trump and most of us don't really agree with. So I don't understand, you know, I don't understand how nowadays leftists are the ones who, they used to be anti-government, they used to be in favor of things that Donald Trump is doing, but now because their brains, like Jon Stewart's brain, Bill Maher's brain, are so broken that because Donald Trump is now participating in what the leftists used to support, they can't support it anymore. It's just, dude, Jon Stewart, Bill Maher, the rest of these leftist brains, absolutely broken.
Be honest, and let's be frank here, that is money that the city of New York could have used to build more Walgreens. Now, some blocks only have 2 of them. Leave it to Kevin O'Leary to be unaware enough to say the quiet part out loud.
I hear about the so-called victimless crimes, but the laws on the books, falsification of business records in second degree, issuing false financial statements, insurance fraud, conspiracy, and all these different aspects of it, those are actual crimes. I take it your point is that these should not have been prosecuted?
Everything you just listed off is done by every real estate developer everywhere on earth in every city. This has never, ever been prosecuted.
There is a theory in law that if enough people commit a crime, it automatically becomes legal. You're familiar with the purge, are you not?
That's not what he was saying. The clip was obviously cut and made to be out of context. You know, that's not at all what he was saying. If you go watch the full clip, he's not saying that because enough people commit the crimes that they should be legal. That's not what he was saying at all. He was, you know, I'm not even going to go into what he was saying. Go watch the full clip. You have to get through the rest of this clip though.
Entitled arrogance. I don't know if you know this, but most people just can't commit fraud and expect to face no repercussions, even if everyone's doing it. Try getting a car loan by saying you have 10 times as much money as you really do, or claim 20 dependents when you have no children, or say you make slightly less money to qualify for food assistance. I will guarantee you there are not just financial consequences for those lies, but criminal ones. But don't tell that to the investment community, because in their minds, in pursuit of profit, there is no rule that cannot be bent. There is no principle that cannot be undercut, as long as you and your friends are making money. And the only immoral practice, hold on, I'm not done.
Nobody's ever said that. And also, if they did say that, they're taking money from the government that's spent it in ways that are, you know, honestly unethical. You know, they go spending it in countries that aren't America. They just hand it out, billions and billions of it, to countries that aren't America, who are committing atrocities. And a lot of the money that America keeps, they also use to commit atrocities. So I don't mind it. Even if they were saying, we're going to do whatever it takes to steal money, whatever, like, go ahead. You're stealing it from the right people. I can tell you that. You're stealing it from, in my opinion, the biggest criminals in the world. So take it.
Raise my chair up, I would. Apparently, the only immoral practice in the capitalist system is to use that money for people who may need it.
Fraud, waste, and abuse, people never want to be honest about, but a lot of these parents will, you know, they abuse the system. A lot of them are encouraged to abuse the system.
Where do you think the money that you get for food stamps and other things who do you think pays that money, your health care? You're taking their money and you just don't seem to care. The guy who walks out of the store with a bag of food, is he entitled to it because food is a necessity and he doesn't have enough of it?
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
You nutrition-needing motherfuckers. Bringing our system to its knees. Stealing is only justified when you already have too much. Ultimately, whether or not Trump is a victim of selective prosecution is going to be a matter for the Supreme Court to decide. Luckily, that is an institution which still holds the trust of the American people because of its integrity.
For years, Justice Clarence Thomas has secretly accepted luxury gifts from a GOP mega donor, Harlan Crow. Gifts like private jet flights, luxury yacht cruises. And according to the report, the Supreme Court justice never reported them on annual financial disclosures.
Victimless. It's a victimless crime.
The irony in all this is what I'm going to show you right here from Tim Pool, who just absolutely destroys Jon Stewart. And it's like people like Tim Pool and even myself are so like, these people like Jon Stewart and Bill Maher are so not worth taking seriously when they go on these tirades and meltdowns about Donald Trump, that Tim Pool's response to Jon Stewart is just super simple. Like, these people are just such hypocrites and they just do this to fire up, the woke cult. But here's Tim Pool's response to that little clip that I just played you there. Did Jon Stewart commit fraud when he sold his penthouse for $17.5 million? New York listed its market value at $1.8 million and AV at around $800K. Who did he defraud? I am shocked. And here is the New York Times article saying Jon Stewart sells Tribeca penthouse for $17.5 million. And if we go over here, estimated market value $1.8 million, actual AV. You can see all the numbers here. That basically shows that Jon Stewart sold his penthouse for $16 million or so more than it was actually worth. So is Jon Stewart committing fraud? Who did he defraud is what Tim Pool is asking here. I am shocked. And it's like he doesn't even have to take it seriously. These people are just so hypocritical. It's literally in the New York Times that you've done the same thing that you're accusing Donald Trump of doing and saying that it's illegal. It's wild. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you're thinking about Tim Pool's response here to Jon Stewart. And what do you think about Jon Stewart and people like Bill Maher just having absolute meltdowns, it seems, every single day on their live shows, on TV, on national television, they're having these meltdowns. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking about this Jon Stewart situation and what do you think of Tim Pool's response? Do you agree with Tim Pool or do you think that Jon Stewart is in the right? Let me know in the comments what you're thinking. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I hope to see you guys on the next one.